usually when we think of exploitation, we think of, someone being forced or coerced to do something. People don't have a lot of money, they're not making a lot. And so someone's like, totally at the bottom, and they, make a contract with one of these employers. They're making a decision. They're taking a bad, they're taking the least bad option.
Right.
And that employer might say, hey, you'll work for me, you'll work 80 hours a week,
Right.
and I'll pay you $2 an hour. I mean, it's the least bad option, and it's a voluntary decision, but I think it still is exploitative.
Okay, but so here's the problem. In seeking to end that exploitation, what you are very often doing is providing them a choice now of no choice. Meaning, for example, let's take up minimum wage law, which is essentially, Lochner is talking about things like minimum wage laws. You're talking about maximum work hours and that sort of thing. So the problem with a minimum wage law is that what you have now done is you've circumscribed choice even further, because you're not actually giving people a broader range of choices. Now you're telling employers that they have to hire people at a certain price. They may think that the employee is not worth the price and just not hire them. Right? This is what happens very often with minimum wage laws. The solution to all of this is something that I believe in, which is private unionization. So I think the private unionization, you get together with all your friends, you say, listen, none of us are going to work for anything below this wage. We're not allowed to kneecap anybody because that's use of force. But if all of us agree, we're not going to go in, we're not going to work in this place that's going to kill us in 2 years. That's perfectly legitimate and good, right? Collective bargaining on a voluntary basis is a good thing and doesn't violate any free market principles. What I don't like is the idea that if you decide to take a job at $7.50 an hour, and I think that I could have bargained better than you, right? That I could have bargained it up to $10, for example. Or I think that if you had held out a little longer, you might have gotten $10. Or I think that maybe you couldn't have, but the guy can afford $10. You are now imposing your own view of a situation on the actors who are